Barry, thanks for being our current artist. How long have you been a carpenter and stained glass artist for?
I've been doing it for 30 years.
And what's the process like for creating a stained glass artwork?
First, you have to have a good design, and that is primarily why I'm in the stained glass business, is design and art. I really enjoy designing and creating unique and original pieces of artwork.
Why did you first choose stained glass as a medium over painting or ceramics or any of the other traditional?
Well, I've always been into art, and I've always drawn, and I've in the process of drawing, probably more accurately I should say drafting, and I did a lot of designing and architectural stuff. I was very much into architecture when I was younger, which kind of led me into the stained glass. I had a friend that did stained glass, and she taught me how to do stained glass, and so I took lessons, and I really didn't know what to do with it at first. And one day I went to a lumber yard and I found a piece of cedar, a really big, beautiful piece of cedar that was $1, and so I bought it, and I designed a stained glass window using the cedar as part of the stained glass window. That was basically my first inspiration, and from then I just went crazy with it. And of course, at the same time, kind of simultaneously, I went into woodworking also, mostly glass related woodworking. I did that for about a year, and then I ended up I realized that I was doing more woodworking than I was glass, and so I thought, well, I guess I'm going to be a woodworker. And about a year later, I was doing more glass than woodworking, and so I thought, well, I guess I'm going to be a glass person. And then eventually, I figured out that I was both, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
So that's very versatile. What is something that you do as an artist that might surprise your patrons and viewers?
That's a good question. Probably the drawing. I know that's very much related to it, but that's the one thing that I do get the most enjoyment out of, and I do a lot of different things other than stained glass related drawing. I've done a lot of graphic arts, poster designs, things like that. I've done posters advertising my own businesses. I've done some for nonprofit groups. I've done a poster for the Art Center. I did one for the Red Canyon Century bike ride. I've done a couple for the Southern Colorado AIDS Project bike ride, escape ride that they have every year. And probably the graphic arts would be the most surprising thing.
Where do you see your work around Cañon City as far as galleries or public locations?
Mostly Pizza Madness has more work than any place else in public display. I have a lot of clients that I generally don't share their names or addresses, but Michael's on Main has some of my work in there. In fact, I did the stained glass ceilings in on the first floor in the front windows, and I did a cabinet there on the first floor, and then I did all the glass display cases in the gallery upstairs in the front room and in that main room there also.
Okay.
And the Cañon Current has a couple of my pieces in the office there. The high school, the new addition of the high school, the south end of the high school is the big tiger stained glass window. And I did the dedication plaque for the clock tower on the south side of the clock tower too. So, you know, it's just about everywhere. The Abbey, I designed and built the interior of the tasting room at the winery at the Holy Cross Abbey. And I also did the St. Cloud Coffee House, which is no longer open, but it's there.
What inspires you in Fremont County?
I think probably just the laid-back atmosphere of Cañon City. I've lived in a small town for most of the last 40 years, and I really like living in a small town, and I think Cañon City is conducive to relaxing and getting in that creative state of mind.
Do you prefer working with patterns or figures in your stained glass?
I prefer more abstract, geometrics, less figurative stuff. One of the things that I've always felt was that the more that a piece of artwork tells you what it is, the less likely you are to really appreciate it. The more likely you are to appreciate it when it makes you think about it. Most of the stuff that I do is complex enough to inspire you to explore the design, and it almost enhances or causes a meditative effect. And I think that to really enjoy a piece of artwork, you really do need to get to that state of mind and open your mind to it. If it's a deer, it's going to be a deer. It's always going to be a deer, and it's going to tell you that it's a deer, and it's never going to be anything but a deer. But I do have other things that I use figurative, you know, the human figure, and it depends. As a stained glass artist, you do everything. You do flowers, you do birds, whatever people ask you to do. You know, pianos, I've done a piano. It's amazing, you get an education, an arts education doing stained glass, because you're always doing something new. You know, you might never know how, I would have never known that I could draw wildlife or bears or anything like that, but over the years I've done several, you know, and if I study something long enough, I can figure out how to design it and how to do it, and you know, whether it's in glass or graphic arts or you know, whatever medium I'm using.
Speaking of new, Cañon is kind of new to the public artworks realm. How do you feel about our new public artworks on Main Street and our newfound love of public art here in Cañon?
Well, I think it's great. I'm really happy that they finally got that project off the ground and everything. I have mixed feelings about public art, and I feel like if you really want to do something for the arts, the best way you can do that is to buy a work of art, commission a work of art, hire an artist to create a work of art, and there's been a lot of talk in the last few years about creating some sort of an arts economy here in Cañon City, an arts community. To me, if we could get 100 people to commission $100,000 works of art, we'd have an arts economy in this town. Until we get that, we're not going to have it. And all the public art in the world isn't going to make Cañon an arts town. You got to have artists making money, enjoying life, living a comfortable life, and creating art. And that's, when you have that, you're going to have it. You'll have all of that. We can't be Santa Fe or Taos or anything. They already did their own thing, and we don't want to be them anyway. And so, you know, we leave the turquoise coyotes and stuff to them. I think that Cañon has a lot to offer, and that we should seek out and define our own art movement here. And art never went anywhere copying another style. Art always went someplace when it was something brand new and something evocative and thought-provoking. And that's, to me, if you want public art, then commission a piece of artwork.
So Barry, how do customers normally contact you?
I can be contacted through my email address, which is baron5455@live.com, and I can also be contacted through the shopper or on Facebook, and probably the best way is through Facebook. I have my entire portfolio downloaded on Facebook, and you can look at all the photos and comment, and those will always get to me, those comments, and leave some sort of contact information. I'll get back with you.
Great. Thanks, Barry.
Okay, thank you.